The Gulf of Maine is one of the 10 most productive marine systems in the world, but it's radically altered from what it used to be.
When I first started ground fishing, we could go out in a day and we'd catch 10,000 pounds of fish, and you'd have probably 12 or 14 different species, being cod and gray sole and dabs and pollock and things like that, hags, things that we caught. You'd go catch 8, 10,000, whatever you could hold, and then come in and unload and do that just about every day, and it was pretty steady.
The problem that they had in those days was that if you towed your net too long, it would literally fill to the mouth of the net. It would be too heavy to lift aboard the boat.
The productivity comes about from the fact that you have these really cold Arctic waters that are dense, and they come into the Gulf of Maine through a narrow channel, and they rise to the surface where they bring all these nutrients and lots of oxygen. It's this incredible buffet for species moving up and down the coast. The Gulf of Maine is in trouble right now. It's not a healthy system. And so the Nature Conservancy is working with fishermen to try to bring it back into balance for nature's sake and for people's sake.
There was a lot of abundance when we started, but over time you could see the decline start to happen.
The change was gradual. It wasn't all of a sudden there was no fish tomorrow. It wasn't that type of thing. It's that we began to catch a little less and a little less and a little less, and more boats got out, and yet the stocks didn't rebound like we had anticipated, like we'd hoped.
By 1995, NIMS declared the Gulf of Maine cod stocks has collapsed.
Phippsburg, the peninsula that we have here, there were 50 boats probably at one time that targeted groundfish. And now, because of regulations, because of the stock decrease and stuff, we're down to 2. There's not the fish that there used to be. So that makes everybody stand back and go, okay, now why?
It used to be the case that the primary way fishermen made a living was by catching fish. In Maine, it's almost 80% lobster now, and it's remarkable to me that fishermen are making more money on worms today than they are on cod.
We've lost a lot of fishermen. The ones that are hanging on are trying to hang on business as usual, but even that's not possible anymore.
Well, there's been a lot of boats that have sold out and either gone under or gone to a different fishery or have left the state completely.
It's bad a lot of ways. I think we're right on the edge right now of losing the entire fleet in Port Clyde. Port Clyde Fresh Catch Marketing is the only thing right now that's keeping these guys going. Without that, I think most of us would have thrown in the towel a long time ago.
I think that making sure that we do something to improve the condition of the Gulf of Maine is one of the most important conservation challenges of the day. The basic solution is this. We acquire some interests in fishing by buying permits. We allow the fishermen to use those permits to basically subsidize research so that they can figure out what gear to use, where to fish, to make their practices more sustainable, so that the cost to underwrite changes doesn't fall on the fishermen. If that's the case, it drives them out of business, but rather it falls on a conservation organization, which is where it belongs.
Fishermen are tired of not seeing any fish. They want to do whatever they can to bring them back, but they want to be able to afford to do it. We don't want to have to go pound those places where we know it's bad. We want to change our gear to make it way more habitat friendly. We're thinking about how we can catch as few as possible and still make a living.
What we're seeing is the last opportunity for us to capture that fine-scale information about all of these fish stocks in the northeastern quadrant of the Gulf of Maine.
This is one of the most complicated conservation challenges I've ever seen, and what's very clear to me is that solutions are to come from bringing people together to solve this problem.
I think that if you partner with fishermen, whether it's involved in research, whether it's involved in fisheries management, we can solve tremendous problems.
If you've got the people from the area who care about the area, who want to see it productive, who fish that area more than anybody else, they've got a huge incentive to make sure that area stays productive.
If we could do some of these things that we've been talking about, we could turn this coast into a fisherman's paradise.
I see communities up and down the Gulf of Maine where fishermen go out and certain times of the year they're catching cod and haddock and flounder, for example. Other times of year they're catching lobster, herring, scallops, or shrimp. And they're doing all of these things in a sustainable way with communities of fishermen. They land these fish on their docks and immediately have markets available where people are paying them a premium because these folks know they're getting sustainably harvested fish. And in return, what we have is a Gulf of Maine which rebounds to some of its former diversity and productivity that it's really been missing the last 30 years. The Nature Conservancy has expertise in bringing science to bear on conservation challenges all over the world. We have expertise in, our approach is to be non-confrontational, and we often use markets to try to solve problems, market-based solutions.
With a partner like TNC, we have the possibility to rebuild our coastal economies, create a more effective distribution system for our fish and shellfish.
They care about the communities, which is something very rare. You know, they want to see a good fishery, they want to see communities thrive, you know, they want to see fish out there.
Our ecosystem that supports us will be cared for, and we will be able to use it.
It's a real paradigm shift from what we're used to in fisheries management. It's a whole new model. Fishermen are becoming believers, and trust me, when I started, when we first came up with this crazy idea of getting fishermen to do something like that voluntarily, there was a lot of, but they're starting to see results now, and you've got a whole group of fishermen that are basically preaching these ideas to others, and it's starting to grow. We want this fishery to be available to fishermen in this town, in this region, forever. So there's this huge commitment to restoring it and having access to it.
It can be rebuilt, and that's what we're trying to do. Our communities want to rebuild it. They want to take care of the fishery.
It's jobs, it's people, you know, and that's, you know, that's the important part. And I'd like, if I could look down the road and that was happening much more to the extent of what it is now in 20 years, I'd say then probably we were successful.